Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Unfiltered. I am beyond excited to have this next guest on. We crossed paths during one of my listings, and I tried to give her some referrals. That was a whole fiasco. We won't go into that right now. And oddly enough, she has an awesome head of hair for the sales team that she's actually on. But Kristen Massie with Mark A Dalton, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It was good weather today and got to hang out with my kiddo, so it's a good day.
Always a good day, especially whenever it's a Monday and it's not like gloomy and
That's
nothing
right,
like crazy has happened yet. Knock on wood, because there's always time.
for sure. Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me and come on Real Estate Unfiltered. I would love it if you would kind of go through how you fell into real estate because I feel like we all have these funny stories. Like not many people are like, I'm going to go to college and then become a real estate agent. So
Right.
how did you fall into the industry?
Yeah, so mine was a roundabout way too. So I was a military spouse for 20 years, and so I moved a lot. Got into research and demographics, bought houses at a lot of different locations, and just kind of picked up the knowledge in a real life scenario kind of way. Took my brokerage course in Chicago and then ended up having another baby instead. And then moved abroad. And then when I came back stateside, I actually went into the nursing program
Oh, wow.
and then was going to do real estate part time while I was in nursing school. And luckily, um, was given really good advice to say, don't do that. Come in full hard and and do it all the way. And so I did. And so that's been, I guess, coming up on 2 years.
You said 2 years?
Mhm.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a wild ride to kind of go from military spouse, Chicago, couple babies in between,
Yeah,
abroad,
that's the
nursing is now.
minimal. That's like the minimum version.
So that's
There's
a
a
cliff
lot of
notes.
moves. I think I moved 17 times in
Oh,
this 20
wow.
years. Yeah, and there's
Oh
three
my
of them.
gosh.
Three. And yeah, so that was a big, yeah, big change. Was a stay-at-home homeschooling mom most of the time. Yeah,
I'm gonna power to you.
yeah, yeah.
I have one. I'm done. I love him, but oh,
Yeah, that's what I
um,
said. So there's 9 years between my first and my second. So you never know. Don't
well, you have
say one and
well
done.
that you have a great built-in babysitter, though, I'm sure,
I do.
um, to
Yeah,
kind of help with that. One that
yeah,
you already trust, which is
that's right.
half the battle with
Yeah,
that. Um, well, so you said you've moved 17 times. Did I hear you correctly?
yes.
Oh my
That
gosh.
was
Well,
within the military. Yeah, and within those years. Yeah, I've moved a
wow.
few times since. Yeah, I was done with that.
So you were literally a professional mover, just in a different
Yes.
sense.
Yeah, I was, and I think I learned a lot of lessons in that for sure about what leaky basements. I learned lessons the hard way.
Hmm.
On the other side of that. But yeah, it was definitely a wild ride for sure. And there's an emotional part to it that I think that I can bring to real estate because I understand the stress
Hmm.
and houses that people brought their babies home to that they have to give
Yep.
up. And yeah, it's the home buying process and the selling process is way more emotional than people give it credit for.
Oh yeah. Unless it's an investment property. I mean, and even then there's still emotions to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if it's someone's home that they, raised their family in and they have the markings on the, door moldings of height, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
um, a lot of sentimental stuff with that. So
for sure.
I guess I would assume that all of your, moves and stuff kind of help you kind of prepare your folks, your clients, whenever they are moving and stuff too, kind of giving them tips and tricks and knowing what
Definitely.
they're feeling, obviously.
Yeah, different things like living in Louisiana and seeing how grading was an issue or, where the water was running to, that kind of thing. And Chicago, when the ground was frozen and then it thaws and it starts to rain in the spring, those signs for leaky basements are huge. Yeah. So I think every house and every location helped me understand what to look for.
Hmm.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah. I mean,
I,
there's no, oh, go ahead.
I talk people out of homes, I think, more than they're like, okay, this is great, let's go for it. More I'm like, we don't. Let's wait. Yeah,
But I feel like that helps you build trust with them too. Like, because they could be regretting once they close on something and been like, dang, I wish I would have known X, Y, and Z.
right.
And instead, I mean, we're there to be the advisor on, I mean, if they still want to move forward, okay, we'll still move forward. But they need to have all of the information to make a really good, educated decision.
That's right.
Um, and I mean, it sounds like that's where you you definitely help out. I feel like it's also easier to kind of talk someone or show points as to why they shouldn't buy something as opposed to why they should. Um, but
Yeah, with
I,
things being so fast. Yeah,
mhm.
lately the market's so fast that, you get one or the other. They either are like, it's
Yeah.
too much too fast, or they're like, yeah, okay, this is great, let's move, and they don't see the things.
Yep.
And yeah, we're trained to see for sure.
I had one like that this past Saturday actually that I was like in my gut, I was like, that was that was a little too fast for comfort. Like I'm a little nervous and they still wanted to move forward, very clear with everything and um, wrote it like we would win and somehow they didn't get it. And honestly, I kind of feel like some of those times things happen for a reason.
Mhm.
Um,
It's just
so
part of
I,
educating them, getting them used
yeah.
to the pace and the process. Yeah.
Hmm. So you're based out of Lynchburg, right?
Yep.
But we connected whenever I had a listing in Roanoke, in the city of Roanoke. So, did you guys ever find a spot for that buyer of yours, or?
We did. Yep. They bought a house. We put in quite a few offers and didn't get them, just like you're saying. It was
Mhm.
definitely an emotional roller coaster for sure. But they've closed and they're in the home. And
Awesome.
yeah, I think I've listed one. I got that under in Roanoke, and then we're looking for a couple more people. So, and Roanoke is a different game for sure than
Yeah.
Lynchburg in a lot of ways,
Yep.
which is
It,
weird because we're only an hour apart. But
yeah. It's not a massive, distance, but going into a different market is always tricky. Like me doing some work up in Northern Virginia, that's a whole different breed
right.
of stuff. And then doing some stuff in Charlottesville. How is the market in Lynchburg right now? Is it just as kind of, fast paced and multiple offers like we're having in Roanoke, or what are you
It is, but
seeing?
in just a little bit of a different way. I
Hmm.
think. I think the price points, like I think the client that I was showing was like 225 ish,
Hmm.
and in Roanoke, holy cow, that's hard. You're looking at
Yes.
multiple, like 10 offers within 2 days, with like three of them cash, and
Yeah.
uh,
That the low
fast.
twos is really that price point right now here where it's like all of the investors plus first time home buyers
Hmm.
are just like even
Yeah.
not first time home buyers honestly, like folks that are buying their second home, but that price point is really desirable for all those demographics, so it's kind of wild.
Yeah, it
um,
made me a little open my eyes a little bit to see that first time home buyers are getting almost pushed out, by
mm,
people who have cash or who are investors who want to rent those houses to people who want to find that house for themselves.
mm-hmm.
It opened up my mind a little bit to how I like it makes me want to hustle harder
Yeah,
for first time home buyers instead of going for cash clients, just because, you know, I want to help investors, but getting people pushed out of the market and being renters for long term, that's a hard thing to swallow.
exactly. Well, and then you get the sellers that, I mean, there is one a couple months back in a super desirable location in Roanoke in like Old Southwest. Um, and I mean, it was an investor's dream, like to be able to flip it, the house next door, like it was beautifully redone. So they already had a built-in comp, all of that. And I mean, I think they had at least 10 offers because one of my
Was it one that I got and it fell
I
through with the
I
inspection? Is
think
that the
it
one?
I think it was that one.
Yeah, it was a
But
great
that's
house.
it, incredible house, incredible location. But that seller literally said, I don't want to sell it to someone who's going to flip
Yeah,
it
that was it.
and resell it.
Yeah,
And whenever I found out that that it was that house, and I was like, I think I know who it went
yeah.
to. um, but I like folks like that that kind of
They
think
see the
that way.
market and they see the emotion and the human aspect of it, and yeah, they're trying to be game changers. I appreciate that
Hmm.
too, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. But no, that's funny that that was kind of
yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was yours, but I had
yeah.
an inkling. Um,
Good house.
um,
Yeah.
but so let's see. I One of the big reasons why I also wanted to have you on the podcast is because you're a mom just like myself, um, except you have times three. And how do you balance it all? Because I only have one, and I feel like I'm juggling and like dropping seven things at a time.
I think delving out responsibility is huge, and there's a lot of mom guilt for sure about how much responsibility you're giving them, which is good, especially now in, video game age.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of not knowing how you're going to do it and not thinking about how you're going to do it and just doing it. And I think that's like the first step when you have one kid to two, you're like, I don't know, I'm not ready enough. Then you have three, and it's the same thing. Like, I don't know, I'm doing as much as I can. How can I possibly do more? And
You just do it.
you just figure it out and you find your groove. And
Hmm.
I think the more busy you are, the more your kids actually get to develop into who they are without so much of your influence. I had so much influence over my first daughter, just because it was only her and she was my life. And I
Hmm.
don't regret that in any way, shape, or form. But I think taking a step back and seeing my children grow without me hovering is a different sense of satisfaction that I think you only get when you have multiple children.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
not as much is on your shoulders as you think it is.
Yep.
And they still end up okay, and they still learn things, and they still, keep at the general pace when you're not, you know, over top of every step or in charge
Yep.
of every step or in control of everything, that happens. So,
I can definitely see how that works out. I mean, isn't the joke kind of, like at least I joke this way because I know I grew up like it. I'm one of four and I'm the oldest. So I was dropped the least and I was able to do the least. And then you get to my brother, who is the only boy and the youngest. Um, Golden child, could do no wrong. But it's funny seeing the differences whenever we are kind of raised the same, just in a different way. And
mhm.
like with my son, um, it it's funny because I feel like whenever he was really little, I was very much like mama bear, like, oh my God, have to like hover every 2 seconds.
Reading books and like,
Yeah, yeah. But now I'm like, I don't have a second kid, but I feel like if I did, I'm treating you like that because it's like, oh, you scraped your knee, you're okay, rub it off, like get back up, keep going. And it's just kind of funny how that transitions a little bit. But um, so, I mean, you're right in the sense too that you just have to do it. Like, it's not going to stop. Like, being a mom and working is not going to stop. Um, and you hit the nail on the head too with the mom guilt piece. There's like times that I go to do a showing at night and he's like, "Where are you going, mama?" And I'm like, "I have to go, show a house." And he's like, "Can I come?" I've taken him to a couple, but that's also, he's like a bull in a china shop
mhm, yeah,
at this age. But I'm like, no, not this time. So that kind of is a bummer. But we just started T-ball, and I told my husband, I was like, I don't care what it is. That practice on Wednesday and that practice on Saturday, I'm not missing. I can do stuff before, I can do stuff after. I'm not missing those. Um,
relying on people, I think, to take you, having that kind of village, I think is important. But thank goodness my son doesn't like baseball. Thank God. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and so they're taking a season off, and so I'm thankful because it was tough. I think I mean, like I was on my phone, definitely still working at the
Mm.
games, but I was present. Excuse me.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
But yeah, I don't want to do that again. But good luck.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm kind of nervous because I know that I knew that it was going to be a lot to sign up for. Um, but I'm also like, maybe this is his sport because it's not like he has like the age one right now in the mass to be like a football player. He's not going to have the height for basketball. Like, sorry, he didn't get those genes. So he's super fast. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe soccer. And then I'm also thinking, well, he's actually not bad with a bat and a baseball. So maybe that could be his too. And hopefully, my goal, honestly, for this year is for it to teach him patience. He literally has told me multiple times, waiting is boring. And I'm always like, Finn, I know it is, but sometimes you have to wait. So I don't know. I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone with, teamwork and waiting and patience and all that, but
Yeah, I think it's
we'll
great. I
see.
think it's good to connect too. I think you can connect with people as far as real estate
Hmm.
goes in this sports world. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, that's probably where I'm going to draw the line though as a single mom of three.
You're like, I don't need to do that again.
They're going to have to be artsy or
Well,
something.
let's talk about something else that's probably really funny because if you've been doing this for, 2 years, a little over 2 years, like I'm sure you've seen a lot of funny things in showings and in houses. And I love hearing the stories from agents and home inspectors and stuff. So, what is, the funniest thing that you've seen on a showing before?
Like funny or shocked funny
Either one.
funny funny
That works too.
scared funny.
We can go through all of them if you want.
There was a moment that I caught not that long ago. It was an older house, and the inspector had to go underneath like a flagstone, very small space, like this big.
Oh my God.
And I caught him going underneath like the Wicked Witch of the West, and it's like foot help got through. After that, that was pretty funny.
That I was gonna say that would be a great like
A
reel
clip.
or
I should probably do
clip
that.
to put
Yeah.
it on Instagram or something.
Made me feel a little bit bad at what we put him through sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, there's a cat graveyard, like the bunch of kids.
Oh,
That was probably, that was a little much.
wait. So
Couldn't be-
now I'm curious though. Was it like actually like the owners would bury them, or was it just like
It was like grave
a
sites over the years, like
oh,
with headstones for pets, like a full pet cemetery with, I don't know, maybe
huh?
20, maybe.
So I know there's rules about like if there's a family cemetery on something. So does that
Yeah, luckily
apply
it was a
to?
farm and the owner was okay with it, but we did collect the gravestones and pass them. But yeah, that took me aback a little bit. So,
Yeah.
you know, that was interesting. That was an interesting moment on
Yeah.
how to handle. Again, you kind of pull into that emotion a little bit because how do you handle like leaving
Hmm.
those kinds of things? But I have probably a darker sense of humor than most. That's pretty funny
See,
to me.
that's why
I'd be like,
you and
we
I
can handle this somehow. Um,
that's why you and I work well because I feel like I have that too.
yeah.
A
Or
little bit.
going into I showed a house that was vacant or like a warehousey commercial building that was vacant and it had like plastic up. And all I could think about was the dumb ways to die. Like,
Yes.
that's
Yep.
my kind of humor. So
Anyway, back to what we were talking about, basically like dumb ways to die,
yeah.
aka being a real estate agent. Um, but you're really true, like you're really right in the sense of like I go into a house and luckily a lot of my clients kind of have the same humor as me. And there's been a couple where I'm like we go in the basement and I kid you not, like there's some massive, you probably know what I'm going to say. There's massive freezers, like horizontal freezers. And I'm like, dead body. There's another dead body. Like,
And people have a sense of humor, then I think it's not funny
yes,
in the moment, but when
no,
when
like
you
it's not,
leave, it's
yeah.
very funny. Yeah, I think it's hard, especially for me if I do virtual showings for like out of state clients or something, and I'm in there alone, and I'm like, who else?
Yeah, yeah.
Hello.
It's like that. There's another reel or something that's like, uh, I have a gun.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in my bag.
You like get on the phone real quick with somebody.
Yep, yep.
I do.
Um,
I think as women, especially since you're like in the public eye and you just don't ever know, if I have any kind of inkling,
mhm,
I do share location and tell people to call or text to check in and make sure
mhm.
that I'm not in a place where there's no exit, you know,
Yep,
or that I'm
yep.
at the back of the door or something like that. So it seems kind of silly and we're laughing about it, but it's serious too because you do have to be cautious,
Mhm.
and I have realtor friends that have been in some sticky situations before. So
Same,
yeah, it's
same.
funny. We're laughing, but it's not. There's definitely times I've been legitimately scared, and I'm thinking,
Yep. It's like
is it?
how figuring out your exit plan and,
Yes,
trying to keep your cool so it
yes.
doesn't, because you
Or
also,
like in a
it's,
townhome, if somebody comes up and you're up there and there's no way out.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
that's made me feel funny before.
Well, it's also tricky too because your gut might be saying one thing, and we honestly are like the only thing on the planet that doesn't listen to our instincts
Yeah,
now. Like, if a horse gets scared, they run off. Like, if a dog gets scared, their hackles go up. Like, so we don't listen to that. And so we want to trust our gut and everything. But at the same time, in this profession, it's like, okay, am I just getting a weird feeling for no reason? Or is there a reason? And do I need to start figuring out like an exit plan? So it's a weird, it's just a weird fine line. And
yeah.
it, like you said, it's easy to laugh and like make jokes about it, but it's also super serious at the
Right.
same time.
Maybe like we should have on the bottom what's needed for real estate if you're a woman is like a dark sense of humor.
Yeah,
Because if
yeah.
you can't laugh about those things when you're scared, like be prepared, but also,
Yep,
take it, same as
yep.
rejection. Rejection's the same. You're gonna get a lot of it. And if you are not tough skinned and you can't laugh about stuff, that makes you scared or
Mhm.
sad or whatever, then you're probably not gonna make it very well.
No, I will second, third, and fourth that.
Yeah.
But I completely agree. That's why, like, my other job that I have being a recruiter, that's what I started with right out of school. And that honestly, one, helped with my people skills because I was super shy before any of that. And then two, it's like you get every different type of personality in the book with it, just like you do with real estate. So, like, you might jive well with someone like you and I, or it might be very like dry and no emotion
Yeah,
to
they
it.
don't get
And
your sense of humor and they don't read.
yeah,
You have to learn how to read the room for sure.
yep. It's like I sent an emoji, like you didn't even like say ha or like ha ha. Like what is going on? But yeah, it's tricky. It's very tricky. Um, So I guess one of the other questions I had for you before we get to the game that I have, what is the hardest part that you feel that you have to deal with being an agent in today's market?
Ooh, oh my goodness. The hardest thing to deal with in today's market as an agent. Um, Probably setting expectations.
Mm,
Um, I feel like if you have clients that you can work with that are willing to be educated, that they're worth your time and your hustle and your drive and you letting your children eat Lucky Charms for dinner while you show them houses, that kind of thing.
hmm
And if they are not, you gotta let it go. Because I feel like if I'm gonna help somebody buy a house and I feel like they're gonna be making a bad decision and they're not willing to be educated and hear my expertise, I don't wanna I don't
Mhm.
want to do that. And that's hard for me.
Yep.
That's pretty tough for me. And the same kind of goes hand in hand with telling them no. I think sometimes, you want to just help everybody. And there's some people that just you're not going to mesh with and you're not going to
Mhm.
do well with, or that season of whatever you're in, if you have a heavy client load or your kids are sick or whatever, some people you just have to be able to tell them no. And when they really like, no, but we love you, we want to work with you, you have to be able to say, but listen, like I can't right now.
Mhm.
I have somebody else I can refer you to. And if they won't listen to no, like that, you can't be their realtor later.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. And that's hard. That's really hard for me.
Yeah. No, I can definitely see that piece of it because for me, since I've been in it for about a year and a half, it'll be 2 years in October. It I want to say yes to everything.
Right.
Mainly because it's like, like you're starting up, you want to try new things, you want to do new things, you want to,
Yeah.
do different markets and everything, but you're only one person.
Right.
And it's tough too because the joke whenever I first got in, it was like, it's just going to be part-time. If you want to be a good real estate agent, you cannot do it part-time.
Mhm.
It's it it's working weekends, it's
Yeah.
working holidays, it's answering a phone
Working
call at 7 at night or later. Like I
at
was writing
5
an
p.m.
off,
midnight
yeah,
for
like I
sure.
was writing an offer at 1 p.m. on Sunday morning.
Mhm.
So I mean, like it's tricky, and if you're going to give that much time and energy and effort and research to something and someone purchasing the biggest thing usually of their life,
Right.
um, you want to know that you're going to be respected and treated, well for that effort that you're putting in. So but it's also tricky because it's like you don't want to say no because that's also how you make your money at the same time.
Right. Yeah. I
So,
don't even think it's necessarily even that the person is bad or the client's bad. And I don't mean to come across that way. I think I'm thinking of like my worst moment as a realtor. And it's when I was taxed. I was took on too much. And I
mhm,
was trying to tell them no, and they weren't having it. They're like, no,
mm,
we want you to show us the house. And so it was T-ball season and
mm,
softball season, and I might be getting ready to go on vacation and sick and long days of showing. And I was like, I can't. And I said, went ahead and did it anyway. And I think I shouldn't have. I've got to be able to set those boundaries and say no. And if somebody doesn't respect that you have a life and something outside of.
mhm,
If people can't respect you, you got to let them go.
mhm.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's a very hard thing for me.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with you on that front, and I feel like we all in this profession kind of have to think about that whenever we're going into another transaction with new clients or old clients or whatever it may be. Um, but something on a little more funny, lighter note. Um, so everyone kind of knows this game.
Okay.
MFK. So Mary, F, or Nix. Have you ever? So basically, you have. Okay, well maybe not everyone knows this game, so never mind.
Okay.
But now you're gonna know
Okay.
it.
I think I've
So
like on Ellen maybe or something before. Okay. Okay.
so basically, there's gonna be three different options for you, and you have to decide which one you're gonna marry. I guess one thing I'm gonna take this from my husband's podcast because he says it a little bit differently.
Okay.
Keep, trade, or cut. So like
Okay.
marry would be keep. Um, trade would be
Okay.
F, and then K would be cut.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense? Kind of?
Yes. All right. I'm
Okay. Okay.
okay.
So
All right. Let's
you
go.
have to decide between these three of what
Okay.
you're going to M, F, or K.
Okay.
Lose the key at a showing,
Okay.
let a pet out at a showing,
Ooh. Okay.
and the final one, the seller is still there for the showing. So you have to decide which one you're going to marry, F, or nix.
So maybe it's the one that you like the most. It's not that big of a deal.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah,
first
that you want to keep for the
The
long
key,
haul.
the
Yeah.
key. I think I'm pretty sure people have seen me on video trying all the doors in the house, and like that'd be funny, like watching with popcorn in here. How annoyed I am.
That's always the hardest part too, is figuring out how to
The
open the dang
door.
door
Why is it
every
so
time.
bad? And then it's trade or cut. Probably trade the cat, letting the cat out.
Laying the pet out.
Yeah, because hopefully they come back. And then the cutting is the people who stay. It's just not
Yeah.
great. It's not
No.
good.
No.
It's just not. Don't
And they
stay.
might be,
You gotta go.
yep. And they might be super nice. They might
Right.
be super nice. But for your buyer client, it is so, like, so awkward.
Yeah. You
Because you
gotta
can't.
let them see themselves in the house. And if you're
Hmm.
there and you're telling them everything about the house,
Yep.
not good. Yeah.
Exactly. And I haven't dealt with this, but the thing that I'd be nervous of is like, what if they don't get along? Like, just like a weird tone, and then it just sets the tone off weird for like the buyer and the seller, and like if it would,
Yeah. Or
possibly cause an
renters,
issue with
yeah,
like the
sitting
offer
there,
and stuff.
yeah, that try to do
So,
things to make you not want to buy the house because they don't want
mhm,
to move. Yeah, there's
yeah.
all of that in that one.
All right. I kind of thought that that's, if it were me, it would probably be the same, because I feel pretty confident with like letting a pet out. The joke with all my friends is like, what animal has Marley found today? So I feel like I'm pretty confident on being able to get the pet back. I have lost a key and luckily found it at the showing in the grass at night. Um, don't really want to do that, but yeah,
Yeah,
maybe actually no, I take it back. I would marry, let a pet out, trade, lose the key, and then yeah, Kay, the seller, still there for the showing.
yeah,
That one I just can't.
yeah, you gotta
I
go.
can't get over.
Gotta stay.
Oh man. All right. Well, I've taken up a ton of your time, and your son has not made a cameo, so let's
That's true.
capitalize on that before before we lose his attention span. But where can everyone find you on social media? I know you have an Instagram that I follow, Facebook, all that good stuff.
That's right. Yep. Instagram, Facebook. You want my handle on each one?
I'll put it in the show notes. Don't
Yeah,
even worry about it.
yeah.
Um, but
Instagram,
cool.
Facebook. Yeah, Lynchburg. Um, would be where I prefer to stay.
Yeah.
I drive out your way, for sure. Um, but yeah, Bedford, Lynchburg, Appomattox, even. Yeah, those
Okay.
areas are pretty good.
Well, one of these days we are going to do a deal together. I don't know
Mhm.
when, but
That's
it's gonna happen. I'm gonna
right.
will it to happen.
Still got two buyers up there. So that's all right. Yeah.
But guys, thank you so much for joining another episode of Real Estate Unfiltered. I am super excited for this episode for you guys to see it and just kind of see two moms working their butts off. If you liked it at all, like, subscribe, share, all the things, please and thank you. And keep an eye out for new episodes because my new team member, my husband, is going to be joining more regularly. And also I have say that 10 times fast. It's a Monday. I have more guests coming on too. So keep an eye out and have a great day or night whenever you're watching. Bye.